10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen of the CompetitionPlus.com world, welcome again to the Power Hour. I'm Lee Kraft, aka the Monday Morning Racer, and that is the man that is not bland, Mr. Dugenais Bland. Dugenais, you've already been live once this evening. We're going live right here on the CompetitionPlus.com platforms, and we've got a great guest, someone that had a spectacular weekend that has been working very hard to such a weekend, Ida Zetterstrom, in just a few moments.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy, and I might bring my Stephen A. Smith rant here to the Power Hour because I had to defend my girl, Ida, and have these announcers put a little bit more respect on her name.
Oh, interesting. Something from the national broadcast, perhaps, or NHRA.TV?
NHRA.TV.
Oh, interesting. Well, I certainly look forward to hearing your take. I was not able to follow much of the NHRA weekend, got some news blurts here and there. I was in Mooresville, North Carolina, Race City, USA, for Southeast Gassers Association action. They returned to Mooresville for the first time in like 5 years. It's under new ownership. Great little venue there in North Carolina. A lot of pro stock teams test there because just down the road is the KB Titan group and other pro mod teams as well, and I can see why they do like to do some testing there. So looking forward to talk some Sega action afterwards as well. Well, we got a good show lined up, folks. We say it routinely. This show is pumped up because of Weldon High Performance. Whatever you need in your high performance application, whether that's the high horsepower needs going down the drag strip or the horsepower needs that keep you moving through the air in the wild blue yonder, Weldon High Performance, they have what you need to pump you up. Ida Zetterstrom, all the way from the Åland Islands via, well, Brownsburg, I imagine is home now, right?
Yeah, I just got home like, let's see, an hour or so ago. I'm in Avon, actually, but very close to the shop in Brownsburg. Yeah.
Awesome. Spectacular. Well, look, I'm having a Mexican imported drink at the moment. I'm curious, like, what do you miss from home, drink, beverage-wise?
Oh, good question. What I can tell you what I miss most. I miss drinking the water from tap, just like a normal thing, because like we have such good water back at home.
Wow.
So our tap water is the best you can get. I mean, Sweden, Finland, Norway, such good water. And I keep forgetting every time I get to a hotel room here that I should bring water for when I wake up in the morning. And I still haven't learned. Like,
you're not far from Flint, Michigan. Just be careful. That's right. Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, I've understood that some places here you can definitely drink the tap water, but not all places. And I do not know where I can and can't. So I'm staying to my bottled water for now.
Hey, you know, the girlfriend and I, we just started the whole camping thing. And even though I connect that water filter, I'm like, okay, this is good for shower. This is good if I boil it, but I'm not drinking this. I don't know where this came from. Bottled water is what I'm drinking. I understand.
I'm with you.
Smart. Man, you know, on week 36 of the Not Bland show, on several other shows, you talked about how you guys were preparing for this, this debut. And boy, did not disappoint. You guys come out and were well prepared, a well-oiled machine. How did it feel on that first pass, on the qualifying pass? You guys put all this work in and you got an opportunity to see it come to fruition.
Yeah. And honestly, when that first pass were actually there, I did not have time to think about it. I feel like this weeks leading up to this event has been nothing short of hectic, really long nights, a lot of work by everybody on the team. We went out to roadkill nights and debuted the new livery there, did burnouts on the M1 concourse there, and then back again, getting everything ready, heading out to Brainerd. I stayed a day extra in Minneapolis the day before to do media. I believe we had 6 different media stations we went back and forth to, and did a lot of TV and also some other fun things when we were there. So when I showed up at the track on Friday for the event, we just got straight into getting everything ready, and then the rain came. When the rain came, it was a little delayed. We went over to scale the car, coming back from scaling the car, and they said we're scratching, the other cars that were going to run before, and we'll put nitro on the track right away. So it was basically just jumping in my suit, getting into the car. We got strapped in the lineup, and then we started up the car. And when the car started up, in my mind, I went, well, now it's too late to get nervous. I haven't been able to think about it yet, but the car is started. So let's just do this thing now. And we did it, and it felt really good. I know we didn't really rotate dirt, but we got in really clean pass down the track, and it was my second full pass ever in this car and this chassis. So it was very much well needed for us to just get that data in, and we got 3 out of 4 qualify runs were passes down track where we could collect really good data and have something to work on for race day, and that's exactly what we did. So I think at that moment, starting up the car and just getting out on track, I didn't really feel like I had time to take a step back and think about it. But now, of course, after the weekend, seeing what we did and seeing this whole operation finally being out on track and performing, and for us to have it look the way we wanted, and we really wanted to come out there and show that we have done all this preparation. We are a team that you can count on when we come out here, and we know what we're doing. We do not want to go out there and look like rookies, and that's what I feel like we did. I feel like you could see that there's been a lot of work going into this, and that we knew what we were doing when we came to the track. So I think seeing it all come together and being part of this whole build up just made it mean so much more for me when we actually came out on track,
Absolutely. You all were certainly prepared and ready, and that got you on Sunday a round 1 win over a multi-time champion, one of the greats to do it in Steve Torrence. I'm curious, why Brainerd? I don't think I've heard that. Why did it work out that Brainerd, Minnesota was your debut? Why not a Las Vegas? Why not wherever else? I don't know. Why was it Brainerd?
So a few different reasons, I would say. I mean, from the beginning, when we announced that I was driving, we said I would drive a minimum of 5 events this year, and then the rest would be testing and getting prepared. We quite soon realized that we wanted to try and do more than 5, and we made it up to 8 events. And in the beginning, we were looking at maybe doing a few events a little earlier in this season, like mid-season and so, and then jumping in and doing a few at the end. But we noticed quite quickly that we were still, there's a lot of parts that took longer to get, took a while for us to even get trailers in and start getting equipped and everything. We knew we needed this time to get ready and have everything ready, have enough parts to go rounds on Sunday and be ready for racing. But also we would rather do 8 in a row than split them up, because we are all about gaining momentum for next year. Next year, we're looking at a full season, and we want to be part of chasing this championship. And to do that, we want to get as much data, momentum, and just working together as a team as possible. And I feel like if you want to be consistent, you need to be able to do all of this without splitting it up and having a few guys come in this weekend, and I do a race here, and then I wait a month, and then I do a race there. The more you can do consistently will set you up better for next year. The second thing is also we knew we were going to run Indy, but we wanted to have a race before Indy to get to make sure we were ready for Indy. Basically, that's not a small event to go to, and obviously it's going to be plenty of cars, and you really have to be on your A game to qualify for that event. And we wanted to come out and not just have done test laps, but also done some laps in competition before that. And Brainerd set us up on in a good way for that. And also Brainerd is a good track. We know that it's from a driver's standpoint, I had heard from before, it's one of the smoothest track. It's a long track. It's a really good track to run at, but it's also a good track to push the car and get some data in. And then also it was Joe Maynard's birthday weekend this weekend, so that fell really well for him to roll out the second car of JCM's.
Now you guys had a great run in first round. You had a good one heck of a light in the buy run. I mean, nobody in the other lane at 049. Were you guys trying to find the edge in that second round?
So in the second round, we wanted to get more data, of course, on the car. But for me, I wanted to take my time staging a little bit and just find my light and do all of that, try to go in shallow and have a good light so that I would have a good feeling going into the semis. So that was basically what we did. I felt very confident on that. And then, of course, I don't really know what happened in the semis. That 49 light did not really show up there, but I know I have it. Like I know I can do that, and I know I feel good about it. It was just in the semifinals, for some reason, my leg went before my brain told it to go. I was still looking for the lights to turn on when I left, so it was a strange feeling, but. I don't know exactly why stuff like that happened. It's never happened to me before. And I've heard drivers talk about it for so many years when they say, oh, no, I don't know what happened. My foot went and I didn't tell my brain to do that, basically. But after having done that, I can't really put words on exactly why that happened. I was nervous for first round of elimination because first round on Sunday is always, for me, it's always the toughest one. I actually felt really good coming into the semifinals against Langdon. I felt like we were on a good roll. I felt like everybody here that we are racing have more seat time, more data than us. So everything we can do will be, good for us. And that was also why, even though I pulled a big red light in the semis, instantly when I did that, of course, I saw that it was red. But in my mind, I felt I just want to make a straight pass down the racetrack and give the team data so that we can work on for Indy. So it's strange how you can keep your calm even though you're so incredibly mad. I have an onboard GoPro video before I turn off, smashing my legs a little bit, screaming in my helmet. But it's it was overall a really good weekend, and I didn't feel that pressured going into the semis. I didn't feel nervous the way I did in the first round because I felt like we were the underdogs. Anything we would do would be good for us. Like if I could make a solid pass, have a good light, if we would still get outrun by Sean Langdon, I would. You're never fine with losing, but I would still feel okay with that because I know that they have done this for so much longer than I have. But as long as I would do a good pass and do my job on the tree, I felt good. Obviously, didn't turn out quite like that, but we still gained some really valuable data for the teams.
So I can kind of get where you're coming from with that. And as a musician, I've been in competition before, and of course, you're all amped up, you're ready to go to be in this marching competition. You know what you have to do to execute marching and playing. And I've been in the middle of a competition and I know that my fingers are moving and my brain is behind where I need to be. And I know it. And I'm like, how am I still playing this? Yeah. And I know I'm not playing this by mind because I'm just watching my fingers do whatever and it's coming out. So I get it. Sometimes I don't know what that is. Yeah. I've had it happen 2 times in my life. Yeah. It is the most weirdest feeling. So I do get that from a musician standpoint. So
yeah, it's probably the same thing. And when I got out of the car, I obviously went over to say congrats to Langdon for getting the win light on that round. Of course, I'm sorry I screwed up his round because of course when I went, his mind probably told him to go too. So I think he double stepped and didn't get a real run in for that pass. But I mean, shit happens, so to say. But I went and talked to him, and he instantly, when I saw him laughing at me, and he said, "Yeah, that happens. Now you know." So it's strange, and like I've had several people point out this weekend that we had 2 more drivers that did it right after me, both in the semifinals and in the finals, both in the right lane. So I don't know. I'm not saying I didn't do it. I know exactly what I did, but I'm just saying maybe it was cursed.
Right.
But no, both those drivers have a lot of experience and are really great at what they're doing. But obviously, this is something that can happen. Do I wish it wouldn't happen in my debut? Yeah, but I also would rather have it done now than to do it in a more pressured situation in the future. So.
Yeah, let's all focus on win light over red light. Let's do that.
Yeah, the win light from the first round felt
right.
really good for me and my team, and it was getting that solo pass in for the semifinals. Obviously, a solo pass is not as fun as when you have someone in the next round, but when you're a new team and you're still collecting data and every pass down the track matters, that was a really good situation for us where we could get more. We were actually testing on Monday. We made 2 test passes on Monday, and if the situation would have been different, we might have had to do 4, but we still got 3 runs in to get data from on Sunday, which is more than maybe other people would have thought we would get in on Sunday, so to say.
So the competition side, congratulations. It's great. Got it under your belt. It's out there, round win. How did people at home react? What were the watch parties like? What were the messages like? You know, there's a whole group of people that we probably haven't got to hear from in Europe that are pulling for you in this journey. So, you know, were they up at early hours of the morning and tuned in and watching, or, you know, what was going on that side of the world pulling for Ida Zetterstrom?
Well, obviously, I was quite busy with all of my stuff, so I haven't been able to check it out as much. I've seen some things on Facebook in different groups, and of course, kept in touch with my parents and so on. But I haven't been able to answer a lot of messages or take a lot of calls or so on. But I've seen in some groups, we have like a Support of Drag Racing Europe group where they share a lot and so on. And I think everybody was really, really happy, of course, when we won the first run. I've seen a lot of people sharing all of our runs over there and explaining what's happened, how we're doing. And I think most of them felt that we did a really good job. That's what I've been seeing the most comments being about, that we looked like we fit in over there and that they're proud, which is something that, of course, makes me very proud to hear too. And a lot of that is what I've seen. And honestly, after my semifinal loss, I was expecting to get more people telling me that, hey, here she is, she cracked under pressure or whatever. But no, I have to say the support has been incredible from all directions, people cheering us on. And it's easy to look at, you know, your mistakes or when you lose a round and see that and be like, damn, we could have done that better. I know I'm better than that. But it's very nice when you see the people around you actually coming and telling you that, hey, you did beat the number 1 qualifier in the first round, someone that's won 4 championships, and you did it not by being lucky, but you did it by being good, which is something that means a lot to me. And all the things that have meant extra for me too is when people actually write that we didn't look like rookies. You know, it looked like we as a team had our shit together and we had been out there for a long time. We didn't screw up on small things, that, you know, my driving looked good and that it looked like we belonged. And that's something that means a lot to me, because of course I take big pride about how everything looks and my driving. So for that is it's something that makes me proud, but also for us as a team, since I know all the work we put in and all the preparations that have gone into this, and for that to show how much we prepared and for us to look good out there, not just you know, livery wise and the car looking good, but us as a team, that you can see that we know what we're doing and we're serious about this. That's very important.
So the car looks phenomenal. I want to give your PR person, Miss Allison McCormick, a ton of credit here. There seems to be a campaign style Rookie of the Year thing that's going on that I'm noticing here. And it's different. It's very different. And I like it. It's outside of the box. Yeah, sure. Fans don't get to vote on it. But man, I'm remembering this. I see it in my mind's eye with all the campaign, the thumbnails, all these cool things.
Yeah.
She deserves a lot of credit, and this is awesome. I mean, I'm seeing that. I'm assuming this is intentional.
Yeah, we're having so much fun with this. Actually, this was months ago when we sat down and scheduled how we wanted the car to look, and I kind of gave a little bit of my idea, so what I thought of the car, and Ali said that since I am not an American, it would be really fun for us to play of the fact that it's an election year, since of course Rookie of the Year is actually not voted on by the people, just like you said, but more for us to do this as a fun thing. And we all loved her idea about that, and we've spin on about it. It's been a good teamwork from everybody to make this come true, but definitely Ali deserves a lot of credit on that. She was the one that came up with the Rookie of the Year campaign, and we both have the Zetterstrom for Rookie of the Year signs and stickers, and also the Zetterstrom Schaefer sticker on top of my canopy. And we have several of those that we are handing out to fans at the events. We had some yard signs that we went out and left at the zoo this weekend, and just running with this campaign, which has been so much fun, because obviously this is my American dream, and that's what we're playing off. This is me coming over here, getting to live the American dream. We have the stars and stripes look of the car. Obviously, VP comes in there with their bottles kind of pouring out into a flag on the side of the car. So we have gotten a really cool design of this, and I feel like the look of the car and the trailer and everything is fantastic. Obviously, Tony has a very leatherwood. It's leatherwood all over his car. We still have leatherwood on my front wing, and you can see it on my on several parts of my car, but being in a red, white, and blue theme, basically, so it fits so well in. But yeah, and obviously with VP and Edelbrock and Comcams, Dodge, all of these fit so well into these colors. So it's just been a fantastic mix, and we're having so much fun with this campaign. We did roll out into the zoo with 3 golf carts that was all dressed up in American flags and the Zetterstrom Schaefer signs and Rookie of the Year, and it's really fun. We're having a ton of fun with it, and just like Ali said, yeah, we can't vote, but we want to do something that's marketable and really fun to play with. But it's of course what you do on track that's going to matter the most, and that's what we are all about. Like us as a team, we want to perform the absolute best we can, but we also need to remember that this is a sport we're here for the fans, and the fans seem to really love this. They have loved all the little merch and little giveaway stuff we have had, and being part of this campaign, so to say.
So as a person who may or may not have a vote, and I don't know about this guy over here, it is something that is memorable, and it will stick out. Yes, it's about performance, but I'm loving this. This, to me, gives a move and should be thought about by the NHRA to have the vote for that side, media, and let the fans have a vote and have a fan vote trophy as well. That way we can see more of this.
Why not?
Yeah, the Rookie of the Year campaign has always, or the Rookie of the Year award has always been something that NHRA has had, but I'm not sure that fans have known about it as much. You always post by the end of the year who won Rookie of the Year, but for us drivers, we know how incredibly honoring it is to get that reward, but I don't think that the fans have truly understood how much meaning it is with that. So this is kind of from our side shining a little light on that too, just showing that maybe the fans can get to know a little bit more what NHRA Rookie of the Year is, because obviously we can count up a lot of names that have won this award throughout the years, and they're all badass drivers and people that are taking the sport by storm, but I still think that there's a lot of fans that don't really understand how Rookie of the Year comes about. Or I've seen a lot of people, for example, tell me, hey, you should run for Rookie of the Year next year instead when you're doing a full year. Yeah, but it doesn't work like that, because I'm running more than 5 events this year, so I'm automatically eligible for Rookie of the Year this year, and I cannot race for it next year. So I know that we're running less events than many of the other that are up for Rookie of the Year this year. Yes, it does make it harder for us, but we also don't have a chance to do it next year, because we want to get all these 8 races in this year. There's no question about that. But a lot of the fans, they don't know what you have to do to be eligible for Rookie of the Year. For example, last year, I saw a lot of fans that were surprised that Gage Herrera didn't win Rookie of the Year with his domination in Pro Stock Bike. But that was because he had ran more events the year before, so he could not actually be in the hunt for Rookie of the Year that year. So maybe by this, we will have the fans get to understand a little bit more of how Rookie of the Year is picked and what goes into it, and how incredibly honoring it is actually to get a award like this.
Certainly. The NHRA has done better on it in the previous years, but I don't think it's quite where it should be. And for a sport that prides itself and even trademarks every ticket as a pit pass, fan engagement, fan availability to the stars and cars, I think this sport should have more fan vote aspects than any other motorsport. If an individual can be voted into the all-star race in the NASCAR Cup Series, there should be more fan voting elements in NHRA drag racing, I think.
I mean, I agree to a point, but yes and no, because it's certain things I feel like could be voted by the people, but I also feel like sometimes coming in as a rookie, for example, you can perform great on track and you might be doing well, but you might not have as strong of a following as so like coming in right now, for example, Tony Stewart would absolutely have a lot of people voting for him if the fans vote, because he has definitely a lot bigger fan base than I do. And then I might have a bigger fan base than some of the other rookies coming in. But for me, an award like this, I kind of prefer it to be chosen by people in the industry that looks to it more than just the fan base, because I feel like this is something you want to win, not just for having a lot of followers or fans, but also for the committee that looks at it to see that, hey, this is someone that we believe will be big for the sport and have done, ticked off the boxes to deserve a Rookie of the Year award. But I agree that to some point there might be a Rookie of the Year award, and there might be something similar that could be voted on by the people, like the People's Rookie of the Year or whatever it might be. And there might be other things by the end of the year that we could give out awards for that would be voted for by the people. But it, of course, is hard in a sport like this, because if you, for example, were to be able to vote in certain people for certain events, or let's say you vote for who you like the best, we will always have big names in the sport, like of course John Force and others that will always get a lot of votes because they are just so great for the sport. But you never want to take away someone's performance on track. Like look at it this year when we've seen Austin Prock do so well, for example, in Funny Car. If you were to put him and John Force next to each other, I guess that John Force would probably get more fan votes anyway, because he is obviously John Force and he's the GOAT. But when it comes down to it on track, if Austin has performed better, that's an award that he should be getting. If you hear what I'm saying in that regard.
Sure, certainly. And a lot of folks don't realize, like when I have received the email for Rookie of the Year voting, performance is heavy in it. It is very heavy, obviously, like who has really performed. But there's other elements as well, like it's laid out. Hey, how has this individual dealt with the media? Have they showed up for PR? What have they done also for the sport? So there's many aspects to it,
and that is really good.
Yes, and it would be cool to see a fan aspect to it, but like you said, you'd have to weigh it. Tony obviously would be someone that would have a big push and vote. I think you can see that with, if I remember correctly, he won Top Alcohol Driver of the Year last year in the National Dragster vote, and you've got champions in that vote that didn't win that vote. Granted, I don't think it went to someone that was undeserving. Tony
definitely not.
Good job, but you can see what a fan vote like that can do in a situation.
And that's
like
exactly
that.
what I was trying to say too, because obviously looking at, just like I said, if you were to say Prock and John Force, both fantastic drivers. None of them, they're probably they both performed fantastic this year. But when we are looking at a fan vote, we are always going to have the people with the most followers are usually in favor. And if you've done it for a longer time and you built a longer fan base, or a bigger fan base, it might be easier to get those fan votes. So for me, I feel like I agree with you, what you say. We should probably get more fan votes in, but also match it with something else, so it's not just according to fan votes. But I still feel like what we are the engaging with the fans and what they are doing for the sport is so important too. So absolutely, if we could have part of the votes, for example, being from a fan base, I think that would be something that would be very cool to see in a situation like this.
Yeah, I agree with you. We see it in the NFL all the time with the Pro Bowl. It's a popularity contest. You got guys in there that didn't do crap all year, but yet somehow they made the Pro Bowl. So yeah, I get it. I get it, and definitely get where you're coming from with that. Man, Indy is coming up.
It is.
You know, I know it's like it's the biggest race of the year. It's the granddaddy of them all. Does that get your nerves going any? Or is it just another race? It's a big race, but you try to just focus and say, hey, we're just coming in here, bringing our car, we're going to compete.
Yes and no. Of course, with it being a lot of cars, and you know how hard it is to qualify for Indy. I mean, I was there last year as a spectator, watching like Antrim Brown being outside of the ladder for up until I believe it was the last qualifying run. Of course, stuff like that does make you feel a little more nervous. Going into Brainerd, at least I knew that I wouldn't be able to DNQ, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an element that raises it. But I also feel like we approach it the same way as we approach any event. We have prepared as well as we can, and we will bring everything we know and everything we have built up into this race, and hopefully that will be enough. I feel like I go into any race thinking that if I do my job as a driver and what I know, and I keep my calm, I will do well. And I have tremendous trust in my team and everything they've built up. And I feel like if we can get the runs down track, running the numbers we know this car can run, I feel like we're going to have a good chance. So I feel kind of calm going into it, but obviously still nerves. Usually for me, I don't get nervous when you have qualifying, you get nervous on race day. That's usually how I always work. And it was the same way coming into Brainerd. I didn't feel nervous at all until Sunday morning. But we are also in the Mission Foods shootout since we had a semifinal finish in Brainerd. So that, of course, going to be a new element when you actually race during qualifying. So that would be very cool. And I feel like it's fantastic to be able to run the Mission Food Shootout at Indy, which is, of course, one of the biggest events of the year. And I'm actually going to have quite a bit of people from over in Europe coming over to Indy. My parents are going to be there, and we have several reporters that are coming. The Swedish national team is actually coming with their team coach and checking out NHRA for the first time. So it's going to be a big one for sure, but I have a good feeling about it. So.
Speaking of Mission Foods, do you like Mexican food?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What is the taco order then? What is the taco of choice?
I don't know. I like basically everything. I usually order one of each and say no cilantro.
Okay, yeah,
that's usually it.
There you go. One of each. I like that. Hey, I agree. One of each. It's like, hey, give me one enchilada of every one you've got.
I just want to try them all and see.
Right.
So.
Right.
I think when we went to Vegas, we had like tacos like 3 days out of 4 when we were there. So, yep.
So Ida, last serious question for you here from myself. You're over here. You've got this out of the way that you're here. You're doing it. You've done it. You're going to continue to do it. Do you feel like more rides on your career than just you as an individual being successful, in that you represent more in a segment of drag racing than just yourself? You represent the possibility of those in Europe coming over and doing more in the States. For example, Julie Natus has stated even after winning a championship that, that was a great accomplishment, but it didn't really help me out that much. Do you see yourself as someone that, hey, if I can come over here and do well, that means other Europeans can get a shot too?
Yeah, a little bit. I will have to say that, I mean, I've had people ask me similar things when I raced in Europe, but then it wasn't, you see yourself as, a role model for Europeans coming over. It was often like, do you see yourself as a role model for women getting into sport or kids that growing up? And I've always said that if I can help someone that, you inspire someone to do that, that's great. But that's never why I've done it. Like, this might sound very selfish, but I do this because I love this. This is everything I put everything into this. And I have gotten to this point because I have fought for it so hard, not to prove something to anyone else, just because I want to do it. Like, this is everything for me. But if I can inspire someone on the way and show that it can be done, that is fantastic. I mean, I always love to hear that when someone comes up and says, if you can get here, I can get here. Absolutely. I love that. That's something that makes me feel really good. But I will have to say that that's never why I have done it. That's never been my purpose. It's been because this is everything for me. But being in this situation right now, especially seeing how Europe, like the whole European scene, is basically following us and also saying, make Europe proud when you come out and you're gonna race. It does put a little bit more pressure on it, maybe, to perform and show that we can do this. Coming from Europe, I know that some people have believed that racing in Europe will not make you good enough to race over here. I've heard that before. And same there. I'm not here to prove them wrong, but I'm here to drive, and they're gonna get proved wrong. Like, that's that's more my mentality of it. So I'm not sure if it answers your question that well, but that's kind of how I feel.
So people want to know where they can get that cool merch and represent you. And does that include signed hero cards as well?
So we have merch in Nitro Mall. So we rolled out with one new T-shirt for Brainerd, but there's more coming, hats and more shirts, different designs and so on. They're working on that, and I hope we have something more out for Indy, but I'm not 100% sure yet how quickly that is moving. For everybody that asked about my European merch and the shirts I wore earlier, on my website, it's Zetterstrom.com. You can scroll down and go into my shop, and we have all of our European line there. Right now, I think it might look very empty there because we have actually packed up everything and bringing it to Nitro Olympics for this weekend. But if you're staying a little patient, we will have things in there soon too. So that's where the merch is. For hero cards, I know you can send a prepaid envelope to to JCM's address. I don't have all of this in my mind right now, but send me an email. I have an email address on my or a form on my website where you can fill in, and I can send you the instructions on how to get hero cards. We obviously have hero cards at all events. So if you come there, I'll gladly sign you one and hand it out. But if you want hero cards and you can't attend an event, I know you can do that, and we can I can sign it and we can send it out.
Cool. Ida, congratulations once again. Such a heartwarming story. Keep up the hard work, and we'll keep cheering for you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Always a joy to speak with Ida Zetterstrom, and it is such good news out of Brainerd, Minnesota, to hear her debut go so exceptionally well. Got so many firsts out of the way. And for someone as such as myself that's been following her, and I've had her on like my show before people really had her on the radar type of thing, and it's just good to see. Ida has always been very good to come on shows and talk and just be a down-to-earth person. Though she is a Top Fuel European champion, she's a champion on two wheels, and you never know, she might very well be a champion in the National Hot Rod Association.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people had a lot to say, but at the end of the day, she came out and proved that doesn't matter what she does, she's a hell of a race car driver, and that's just the bottom line. So I'm super excited to see how her future goes. And I really do. I think she has a real good shot at, possibly contending for Rookie of the Year. It's going to be, she's taking care of that media side of it. It's just a matter of getting the round win-loss record together, find yourself in a couple semifinals or runner-ups, or get a win. And you can find yourself quickly at the top of this thing and being crowned Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely. You know, I want to hear your take very shortly after a break, and I cannot help but wonder. I wonder what the stats were with Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza on Ida Zetterstrom taking out Steve Torrence. I wonder how much of a bracket buster she actually was. And if you want to participate in, well, breaking brackets, and hopefully it's not yours, you can do so in the world of drag racing with Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Well, Drag Racing Mayhem, who plays, says that 9% of people picked Ida. That was a good pick for sure, picking the rookie. And then I do want to bring up this guy. I don't know who he is.
I don't know.
Don't know.
Some superstar.
No.
I need his autograph.
Darren Williams Jr. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope things are going great in Orbelinda at John Force Racing. All right, Stephen A., give me what you got. I certainly want to hear this. I didn't watch NHRA.tv over the weekend. I don't know what you're about to dive into. Give you the floor. Give it to us.
So, Power Hour Nation, let me talk to you. So, many times on the broadcast, it was mentioned that Ida was two-wheel driver with on two wheels, a bike with no wheelie bar, all that good stuff. But you never mentioned the fact that she was a top fuel driver. I mean, I get it. NHRA, she comes over here. This is her debut in the NHRA. But let's not diminish the fact that she's won multiple championships. She's driven a top fuel car before. And by the way, she is the FIA European top fuel champion that you failed to mention. But we talked about her being on two wheels and how she conquered that and was dominant and won a championship in that. Well, it's more to the story. She's not new to these cars at all. Not by a long shot. Sure, in Europe, they run a little bit scaled down part system. They run what they can run that the track will hold over there. But to not mention the fact that she is a FIA European champion in the same breath is disrespectful. It's not like this is new. She's been upwards of 300 miles an hour. Maybe not the ETs that they can pull, but again, have to consider the source, right? Have to consider what they're dealing with. But to not mention any of that was weak and disrespectful. And people should put a little bit more respect on her name. She's a champion. And I know a lot of people talk about fields and how many cars there were and all this other nonsense. Cool. But when you race, it doesn't matter who shows up. The fact of the matter is I'm going to run whoever's going to be there. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And on top of that, they don't have any time to catch up. You miss one race and go out first round and points, there ain't no makeup points. That's hard to win a championship with few races, whether I don't care if it's 12 or 2 that show up. Points are needed to win championships. And if you miss over there, there ain't no makeup races to do anything else. You're done. And they were able to accomplish that. So the next time you introduce her on the racetrack, please include the fact that she's driven top fuel before. Maybe not in the NHRA, but she has done it. And she is a reigning champion. So please, put a little respect on her name.
You're saying on NHRA.tv that whenever you watch, it maybe even all the weekend, they never mention an FIA European Top Fuel Championship?
Nope, not when she was on the track. Not when they were introducing her on the track, unless I missed it. But I did not hear that. I heard a lot about that bike though.
Okay.
Just saying that was kind of like a dig, like folks were doing to daggone it. Why is his name slip me now? Crew chief of Paul Lee.
Oh, you're talking about Johnny Lindbergh.
Yeah, Johnny Lindbergh. It's kind of like the same thing. I don't know. Like I said, downplay that. To downplay that is disrespectful. It's not like she's new to Top Fuel. She's new here.
She's not new to Top Fuel.
She's new here.
Right. And I would even say, new here, new to being in the car here, but she has not been unknown to the drag racing scene in America because she has done such a good job of being over here at big events and getting on camera and talking and really building her brand before ever stepping into the car here. But, you're talking about someone that has the quickest and fastest ET, and I think also mile per hour in Europe, first of the 370s. 370s are going to qualify you in most fields, if not all the fields of NHRA competition.
And that's on lesser parts.
And lesser parts, but also tracks that nothing against, but not every track is up to par to most of the NHRA national event facilities that we are racing at. So, and then the competition is vastly different. You have no room for screwing up in their championship runs. And I was about to bring this up. Drag Racing Mayhem brings it up. I find it fascinating. And I don't understand why it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, I don't appreciate Alan Reinhart saying the I side. Like, let's just call it for what it is. IHRA drag racing. It's no longer there. We don't have to hide it. It's defunct with its pro classes. Let's give Clay the credit that he's due. Let's give Del Creasy the credit that he's due. Let's give those people credit where they work. Terry Haddock credit where they are, and that they were able to accomplish things elsewhere. Was it at the caliber of the NHRA? No, those people would admit it. I asked Doug Foley once. I was like, hey, what was the difference for you guys? You would come run NHRA every now and then. You're doing so well at IHRA. You come over to the NHRA and you just don't perform like you were in the NHRA. What was the difference? Was it a rules package? Was the competition just that different? He's like, look, it was a total different ballgame. It was a massive step up in competition. I get that. But nonetheless, you have people earning championships in other places. And it fascinates me that they would have missed that, because they do mention it for someone like a Ulf Leanders, and that he's won European Top Alcohol Funny Car Championship. That's fascinating that they would miss that. But yet that is something from an announcing, from a commentary, from a let me put this information out about this driver. Great that you mentioned the two wheel, but you certainly have to mention the championship. And as you said, though she's not competing there, she is the reigning champion.
Yes. I mean, it's a lot of context, man. Like it plays into the fact that some of these people don't respect or didn't respect the fact that she was getting into a Top Fuel car. You know what I mean? Because now some of these people may not, I think you had to be living under a rock to not know, but let's say you don't know. So now you think she's not only a rookie coming in here, but she's never even stepped foot on the pedal in any form.
Right.
In a Top Fuel car. And that's just simply not the case. It's cool that she has a resume. It is impressive the route that she took to get to where she is today. But let's mention all of the resume, not half of it. I mean, that's like just talking about half of what Tom Brady did. Like, that's disrespectful. And to me, that's a lot of disrespect. And I don't understand why that was not mentioned.
Right. Drag Racing Mayhem, there was a period of time Doug Foley was beating Clay pretty regularly. They were duking it out. Matter of fact, Doug Foley would have won a championship one year if he didn't have his massive wreck there at Cayuga at Toronto Motorsports Park, where he broke his leg and it destroyed the whole car. It took him out for the rest of the year. He was on track to win the championship. Also, he had Paul Romine winning and battling Clay early on. Then Clay became superior in that. And yes, many folks couldn't touch him in what he was doing. That's certainly true. But, Steve Torrance winning and rattling off championships they're not competition out there too. And look, the competition from those, as I just said, different and a big gap. But that does not mean you don't at least introduce, like, I don't know how it happened. You could have done it this way. Like, even on the stage on Sunday morning, if they were able to have it, and NHRA rookie, first time ever, also a reigning champion from the FIA in Europe, Ida Zetterstrom, boom, come out of the gate.
Yep.
You give credit where credit is due. Look, when Larry Dixon goes down to Australia, they're like, hey, here's a world champion. When anyone, hey, world champion.
Yep.
I think it's just a matter of respect. Also, Andrew, I know they didn't really give, fly in on out. NHRA didn't want to acknowledge Bradenton. They didn't do much acknowledging, and I think that's wrong. I think the NHRA, it would behoove them that they lead the way in drag racing and recognize what other people are doing. I think
match racing, all of it.
Yeah, just recognize it. Know you're the top. And when you know you're the top, you don't mind talking about what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Because you already know where you are. So
yeah.
It seems like a little insecurity to me. That's just all I'm saying.
Yeah. So, again, within the NHRA drag racing now, they could, I think, really give some more credit where credit is due and acknowledge. And I put it this way. If you're going to continually talk about Tony Stewart being a NASCAR champion, figure out how to talk about who else is a champion, whether it's Alex June, whether it is Ida Zetterstrom, or someone else coming over from another part of the world to compete in the NHRA.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, like I said, and it's the same thing with Buddy Hull. Like, they made it, like, in the beginning, they made it out like this is the first time he's ever been in a funny car. And it's like, dude, do you know the guy? Like, this isn't the first time he's done it.
No.
Like, this is the first time he's done it here in the NHRA. But, man, the guy's not like a greenhorn and ain't never stepped on the gas in a funny car. Like, that stuff just rubs me the wrong way. Like,
it does me too.
Context that the fans need to know. That context is important.
It's context that is important. It's context that they should know. And matter of fact, I mean, Buddy, when you talk about being in a funny car, a nitro funny car, he has piloted one of the baddest match racing fuel funny cars out there in Tom Moultrie's Drastic Plastic. He's been in that car. I mean, it's a bad ride.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's going to show up and qualify for every NHRA national event, but if they made a couple of tweaks here and there to fit the rules and were able to run, Tom could probably put that in the show. It is a bad nitro car.
And a fuel altered is not easy to drive, as Ron Capps.
Right. and Buddy's done that. Buddy's done it with methanol and nitro. He's not unaccustomed to this ride. And, do they need to work on the performance? He'll tell you that. That's a team thing. I don't think it has anything to do with the driver behind the wheel. He is, like you said, no greenhorn with having that motor out in front of him. If anything, he was more of a greenhorn with the motor behind him in a top fuel car.
Yes, indeed. I 100% agree.
Yes, it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
I tell you, I'm looking. Wait a minute. What did Andrew say?
Okay, good point. I'll bring up Andrew's comment here. Speaking of European drivers, what's your thoughts on Julie Natus being fourth in points? Seems to be struggling for her, especially when she's trying to get a nitro ride. Well, I think for her, she accomplished what she wanted to do in alcohol. And she is focused on that, getting a nitro ride. She goes out there, she earns her license after the national event at Virginia Motorsports Park, does so in convincing fashion, would have qualified number one if had put that car in qualifying
Yeah.
with her passes. She did it in like the short amount of passes you need to do it, quick and fast, got the job done. Certainly she could pilot a top fuel car. And look, I have remarked on the show that the most disappointing competition story so far this year has been that the reigning champ in top alcohol dragster just really hasn't performed to what they did in 2023. But I think the reason for that is she is aiming to go top fuel racing. She accomplished what she wanted to in top alcohol dragster. She's done with it, and she's going to compete. She'll go out and win races and continue to keep her name out there. But it seems like, boom, I want to go top fuel racing.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. And, and let's be honest, you look at some of the competition and some of the people she went up with, especially this weekend, they just outperformed them. That's just and I'm not talking about from a driver standpoint. I'm talking about from just tuning standpoint. They just got outperformed, and it happens. You know what I mean? And but I do agree with you. I think that focus is on a nitro ride. I do believe that. I think it's very close, and I do believe that there could be a possibility that we get some type of announcement over the winter, and she's going to debut sometime next year. I mean, how can you not? How can you keep her out? And I know it's about money. It's a lot about money, but don't tell me that Julie isn't marketable. So
right, for sure,
somebody's just got to put up, and she's done a great job over there in the alcohol class. Pretty much, I believe, one of the ambassadors of that class. And again, I don't like, and that's for all the champions in the alcohol classes. I just don't like how it just doesn't feel like she's a champion when she's been a dominant champion. And I think that's how she feels as well. And that's the reason why she wants to come up. She's done enough there, and she's ready to go on to bigger and better things.
Right. Some people, they want to stay in the alcohol classes and make that their living, so to speak, and thrive in that class, whatever class they're in. But she certainly is like, this was a springboard. I've accomplished what I wanted to. I've won the big races. And she has. She's won Gator National. She's won the Baby Gator. She's won the U.S. National. She's won the crown jewels of top alcohol dragster racing, honestly. The only place she hasn't won that she would like to win is at Pomona, kind of her defunct hometown track, because that's where she planted herself during her college days and coming over here early in the States, things of that nature. But nonetheless, she's done it. And I can understand saying, hey, I'm going to do some races, but my focus is going to the top fuel.
Yeah.
I can see that, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
That mentality. I think that is why you're seeing her fourth in points. And I haven't looked at the points in alcohol in a while. I know that a teammate of hers in Hunter Green has got to be doing fairly well. He's having an exceptional year. So Randy Meyer Racing does have a horse out there neck and neck for the lead. I'm sure of it.
Hunter Green is in the lead.
There you go.
It is Hunter Green number 1, followed by Mike Coughlin, followed by Sean Cowie, and then fourth is Julie Nadis.
Who is in
Jackie
fifth?
Frick.
Jackie Frick. Jackie, she's
I'm not surprised.
There. Always there.
She's right there every time. Like
always there.
She is not far off from the top.
Right, always there. Jackie is always there. Perennial championship contender for sure. And Hunter, again, having a good year, got out of the gate, had some good races early, and he won there at Brainerd. So U.S. National is going to be pivotal once again in the alcohol classes. Sean Bellemere, looking so good, so good this year. I know Maddie Gordon has looked good. That team has looked good, but it looks like it may be a Bellemere year.
617 to 552 in points. That's a big gap for Maddie to close. And as well as he's running, I mean, he'd virtually have to not qualify or not show up to a race for it to, them to have a shot. I think that's a big, big gap to have to try to close there.
Right. Drag Racing Mayhem. Well, certainly. Didn't say that Randy Meyer Racing is the only good team out there. That would be an asinine statement to make. As a matter of fact, Mike Coughlin, number 2 in points. That is a McPhillips car.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a Randy Meyer car. You have a McPhillips car. Sean Cowie is in essence his own racing platform, and then you have another Randy Meyer racing car. Then you have John Frick with Jackie and that car. So when you look at the top right there, it's a battle between Meyer and McPhillips again. Again. So
yeah. How about Bob McCosh Jr. this weekend getting a win? That was huge.
Second national event win of his career.
And it's huge for his points. I mean, he's right there in 7th. And if you look at, you got Philip, I can't pronounce it. Philip Ez. Okay, Philip Ez. He is 360. Kyle Smith is 340. Ray Martin 333, and Bob McCosh 332. That's a tight gap right there. He has a good weekend in Indy, and he could go straight from 7th to 4th real quick.
Right. Now that is if he does run Indy. Last year he did not run Indy, if I remember correctly. He actually skipped Indy, and then unless the schedule was a little different this year, traditionally right after Indy at I believe it's Tri-State Raceway there in Iowa, they have a regional, and he was there last year and won that regional. So many of these teams actually might skip Indy. I haven't looked at the entry list, but they might actually skip Indy and look at some of the regional racing. Granted, it might be a situation where Bob's like, hey, what can I do in the points? And go run Indy and try to perform well. But yeah, a good showing. It was an all McKinney chassis final with Sean Bellemere and Bob McCosh Jr. And then in NHRA regional action in the Northeast Division, Region 1, they got to the finals, but weather came in, and you had a situation where they got it completed at Maple Grove. But it was all McKinney final and funny car. Once again, the Fall a Dream team with Phil Burkhart driving and Matt Gill made the final there at New England Dragway in regional competition. So, McKinney can still build a funny car. Imagine that.
Bob McCosh is on the list.
Okay, cool deal.
4, 5, 6. Only 8 funny cars, though.
Not that again, man. Yeah, it's not surprising. It's not
more
surprising.
Top alcohol dragsters on the list. Usually there are more, top alcohol dragsters on the list. But yeah,
and there's still time for people to jump in too.
Right.
It's not. Look, the pro categories, you typically at the beginning of the year will see what you've got. You'll see some people jump in and jump out, but especially the sportsman categories, you see it fluctuate over the year, and you'll see that list grow up to the day of its close. So just keep an eye on that. But I will say this, Dugenais, folks, everyone out there, pay attention to where I am at this weekend, because there is a group out there trying to do something different and new for quarter mile top alcohol funny car racing. I'm not talking about chaos, okay, because it's an 8th mile series. Love what Chris Graves has been doing, and it is a phenomenal program. But there is something new out there, and they're going to be showcasing themselves at the World Series of Drag Racing, Cordova Dragway.
That's going to be fun. I'm going to have to
be fun.
Keep glued to that one. I definitely got to keep glued to that one.
It's going to be good.
So 20 top fuel cars for Indy, 19 funny cars for Indy. Loaded.
I hope I don't understand why Tums doesn't sponsor this sport. People's got to have heartburn.
You got that right. Man. Oh boy, it's gonna be something.
Or Xanax or something. I mean, wow.
I don't even want to count the Pro Star cars. That looks like almost 30 cars.
Right. They could do a whole nother field.
Yeah. We got 16 at least bikes.
That's good. That's good. And also, Indy, I know we just mentioned the pro classes, we just mentioned the alcohol classes, but Indy is so great with the class racing and competition eliminator, the Hemi challenge, those type of classes and races that happen. It is truly such a great event.
That's a big Hemi challenge list.
Huge.
That's a big list.
It is huge. And I mean, that's the one to win. And frankly, folks, it is the one to win. If you've won March Meet, great. Indy is still the one to win. Yeah. If you have won at the World Series, still Indy's the one to win. If you have won in Europe, if you've won in Australia, if you've won in anywhere else, the one to win is still Indy.
Yep. Yeah. It's the granddaddy of them all. It's the big one. I mean, people are willing to trade in championships for Indy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how big it is.
That is how big it is. Well, Duchesne, look, I took some time this weekend to go cover Southeast Gassers Association drag racing. And, folks, you can see that action right now on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. Gassers in Race City, USA, covering the A-Gas category in particular. Hey, that guy right there piloting this Pittman and Sword Motorsports 41 Willis. Beautiful car. That's beautiful. Alan Pittman. Some of you may remember him from the Pro Mod days and the Undertaker Pro Mod. Yeah, he was out there. And yeah, a guy by the name of Scotty Cannon was hanging out and helping out Chase Howard in the USA 1 Chevelle there at Mooresville Dragway. And what a cool event it was. They wrapped up eliminations from London and Kentucky. They got rained out. And they also then had the eliminations for Mooresville Dragway itself. If you can go to Mooresville Dragway, I highly recommend it. That's a neat little drag strip. I'll say this. It's no Z-Max, which is just down the road.
Right.
It is this country drag strip, and it doesn't have all the amenities. But I will say it was one of the best viewing platforms for a fan that I have experienced at a small track in a long time. Because a track, it's kind of like Shady Side without the shade. It's the best way I can put it. Okay. And if anybody's watching, you kind of know what I mean by saying that. Because it's hilly. It's a hilly area where the track is cut into. In fact, the opposite of the tower side, if you will, like you can't, like if you go over the wall, you're over, like you're going down 10 feet and down the hill for a little bit, okay? But where the spectator side is, the tower side, because of the hilly nature, the stands are up on a hill and the track's kind of down below you, and it gives one of the best viewing platforms of any small track I've been to. So Mooresville, North Carolina, Race City, USA, certainly known for the round-around. It's got a great little drag strip in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I love the little, like, small, quaint little drag strips. Those things are fun. Takes you back to old times.
It is. I know we talk a lot on this show about NHRA national event drag racing, and that's what a lot of people are tuned into. But I have more fun when I go to places like Mooresville or Montgomery International Dragway or to a Mocan Dragway than going to NHRA national events. Look, I love those. Don't get me wrong. It is the premier level of the sport. But folks, if you are not going to your local drag strip and experiencing their local show every now and then, you are depriving yourself as a drag racing fan of what really bolsters the sport.
Most definitely. Especially with all this, the grudge racing that is very popular. I was watching, sometimes I'm part of this group. It's DMV Grudge. So it's a lot of people from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And a lot of times they'll get on there and go live with some of the drivers that might go out to a colonial area in Virginia, dragway, a small dragway, and they put on these different shows, match race type, grudge race type things and they get on there and talk trash and get people to, they're talking about what the other person they want to run, whether they're going to choose a small tire or they're going to give their opponent the back tire and let them choose. It's a lot of fun stuff out there. And these people are serious about it. They work every day, but man, when it's time to go racing, they pack it up and they go racing. And man, there's a lot of good, awesome cars out there. So yeah, man, if your local track has anything like that going on, man, go out there and support it. I'm even all right with the guys with the 22-inch rims, cars looking all sparkly and drag racing these big Cadillac type cars down the track, man. Those things be getting it too. It's just awesome to watch. It's a car show and a drag race all in one.
Yes, I agree. Look, I do not believe in this. Well, real drag racing, like whatever. Look, when you say that, you misunderstand car culture and hot rodding and where it all came about and to and from. You're missing the point.
Yeah.
Okay. Because honestly, drag racing today is nothing of what drag racing was when it first came about.
Right.
And it's disconnected from its roots in many ways.
Yeah.
That's why I like the drag and drive scene, and then also the no prep scene, like the back of the track, no prep kind of guys.
Awesome.
Like it's more hot rodding and drag racing being reinfused than an NHRA national event. Look, we might throw around, hey, how's your hot rod running today? But a Top Fuel dragster is not a hot rod. It is a purebred, thoroughbred race car.
Yes.
Okay?
Indeed.
Okay? So, I have nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to be these people that's not drag racing, like, oh, that's not drag racing when you're not doing a quarter mile. Well, okay. What about the people who do half-mile drag racing? Maybe you're a bunch of wimps for everyone just doing quarter mile.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
Look, eighth mile, quarter mile, or half mile, or some other distance, because there are other distances out there. Racing is racing.
I think it makes it more interesting, though. Like, I know Drag Race Mayhem talks about the eighth mile scene a lot. I enjoy it, actually. I'm telling you, with that type of racing, it actually brings out a little bit more in the driver because there's not a lot of real estate, man. If you make a mistake, it's a wrap. I think it was during the pro shootout. They had, was it a pro mod car? But that joker left the line and front wheels never touched the ground. He didn't get out of it either. It didn't flip over, but it was just on two wheels all the way down the track, on the rear wheels all the way down. I've got a video of that somewhere on my phone. I took it. Man, that's the type of stuff that gets you going. I love Top Fuel, funny cars. I love Nitro, love it. But that it's the guy coming out there with his box Mustang, loping and acting like it's almost about ready to shut off because the cam's so big. I love that stuff. That's the stuff that gets you going because it makes you feel like you actually can do that. Because I'm gonna tell you, as much as we like Nitro, most of us will never, ever, ever be able to build anything like that.
Right. Or again, look what like Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos is doing. It is giving a place for people to go race that do have Nitro cars, but they're not Nitro cars to the level of a John Force Racing or a, Joe Maynard, type of situation.
Yeah.
It is a place to go race and burn nitro. Because look, burning nitro is cool. You put anything on nitro, it just sounds cool. Okay, it just sounds cool. That pop, that thump, that cackle, it just sounds cool when it's on nitro. And man, look, like two weekends ago, I go to Montgomery International Dragway, and you've got the Outlaw Pro Mods Southern Shootout Series racing. And by the way, this weekend they are at Steele, Alabama for the drag coverage Night Under Fire at Alabama International Dragway, along with the Southern Nitrous Racers Association. The nitrous cars and the blown cars are going to be separated. It's kind of like PDRA, but this isn't like under a big series banner.
Yeah.
Like 30 pro mods showing up. But let me say this. I'm not talking about pro mods, probably of the PDRA level of competition where they can dip into the 360s and 370s routinely and regularly. But I don't care. Look, those cars were different. Those cars were cool. 4.0s is not slow. Okay.
Yeah,
and
not.
But per the conditions, some good races and some neat characters. I can get more excited about that than a whole field of quarter-mile Camaros pro mods.
Yeah.
What am I talking about there?
I saw I saw a certain person talking about the pro mod scene, and I'm like, yeah, it's all fun and games, but let's just have something other than a freaking Camaro out there.
Right.
Like other than, you know what I mean? It is. I love pro mods, but man, like everybody's driving a Camaro, and I'm sorry, that just doesn't interest me. I don't want to see a bunch of Camaros out there.
I completely agree. If pro mod is the wave of the future, can we do it with diversity with the cars out there and not just a bunch of 69 or modern Camaros?
Because we know that's possible. I mean, we see it in other forms of pro mod. And guys are running good numbers with not aerodynamic bodies. Yeah, so be creative, man.
I don't know. I wish I had the money to throw out there. If you win a big money race, extra $10,000 if you do it with a body style of a certain, year.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I wish I had it.
Me too. I would do it too.
Yes, the cool body multiplier.
There's some promoter out there that can do it.
Somebody,
even if it's like 5,000.
Right.
Yeah. Come on. I know somebody can do it.
I know. All right, Duchesne, look, it has been a blast here on the Power Hour. Thank you, Ida Zetterstrom, for your time, and thank you, each and every one of you chiming in, commenting, hit the like button, hit the share button. I've got to start getting hooked up and heading north up the road for all things McKinney and World Series. Duchesne, it's been good.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a fun night, and, man, you guys enjoy the rest of your week.
Enjoy the rest of the week. Get to the track. Look, this weekend, I mentioned Still Alabama. You can go check out that race. You have got the World Series at Cordova. You can go experience that. You have, if I remember correctly, the PDRA first time ever Bristol Dragway. You can go experience that.
Yep.
Also, Bowling Green, Kentucky. There is regional action at Beach Bend Raceway. So you can see Top Alcohol Funny Car and Top Alcohol Dragster and a whole great group of sportsman classes running at Beach Bend. There is plenty of drag racing to take in this weekend before the U.S. Nationals. It is not, nothing's happening before the U.S. Nationals. Yeah. I don't want to hear it. Get to your track. Go.
Buy tickets now.
Now. I think that is the peak thing to do. Go experience some local drag racing before the U.S. Nationals. Each and every one of you out there, get it done.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.